Hey there, folks. Chris Hobart here, the Wealthologist, your go-to guide for ideally turning money talk into something maybe a little bit less boring and ideally a lot more useful. Now, today, I wanted to share with you some thoughts on something that's quietly creeping up on all of us. It's the sunset of the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, or some of you might know them, the Trump tax cuts. Now, maybe that just made your head spin a little bit. I want you to stick around because I promise this is less scary than it sounds, but also a heck of a lot more impactful than you might think. All right, so here's the deal. Back in 2017, Congress passed the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, lovingly known as the TCJA, and it came with an expiration date, December 31st, 2025. Now, if Congress doesn't act, tax rates for individuals, for small businesses, and estates are going to snap back to pre-2017 levels. Now, that means you could be paying more in taxes if nothing changes. Now, you're probably thinking, why in the world is this happening? Exactly. It all comes down to some funky budgeting rules. To pass the TCJA with fewer votes, lawmakers made the tax cuts temporary. So, unless they figure out how to pay for them in the long run, they have to expire. But now, simply to renew these cuts, it's being treated like a brand new tax cut, even though it's really just keeping things the same, which is a bit wild, right? But it gets more complicated. The people scoring the legislation, the Joint Committee on Taxation and the Congressional Budget Office, or the JCT and CBO, well, they don't consider real world behavior. You see, they assume people aren't going to adjust to tax changes. Now, you and I both know we do. Higher taxes, we may not spend as much. You see, what they found is that lower taxes have led to higher revenue than they expected because people spend and they invest and they grow businesses differently when they get to keep more of their money. So, in 2018, the CBO predicted $4.4 trillion in tax revenue for 2024. What was the actual number? 4.9 trillion. That's after that tax cut. That's a big miss. Even as a percentage of GDP, tax revenue stayed higher than they expected. I know what you're thinking. Chris, what's the problem? Well, I'd argue that it's spending. You see, the government spends way more than it takes in, and no tax system can fix that without serious belt tightening. Now, what does that mean for you and for me and for our kids? Well, if Congress doesn't act, expect tax rates to jump in 2026. Now, for some, that might mean paying thousands more every year. Now, if you're a small business owner or you're planning your estate, the stakes are even higher. Now's the time to plan. Now, yes, those tax changes could be pushed further, but it's not a guarantee. And this is why it's so important to talk to your financial advisor. And hey, I know a guy if you need one. But you got to figure out how to brace for potential changes. Here's the bottom line. Tax laws are confusing. They're changing, but ignoring them can cost you big time. So I want you to stay informed. I want you to stay proactive, and let's navigate this together. If you found this helpful or if you want some more information, hit that like button, subscribe to our channel on YouTube, and also share this with someone that needs to hear it. Let's keep the conversation going in the comments section as well. My question to you, what would you do if taxes went up tomorrow? How would you change your habits? All right. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time on the Wealthologist Weekly.